A wedding, a proposal, and a family implosion. My battle to protect my big day. Imagine this. You're planning the most important day of your life, a spring wedding, your fiancé's dream, a moment etched into eternity. Then, out of nowhere, your family ambushes you with a plan so audacious it could derail everything. My name is John. I'm 27, and this is the story of how I fought to protect my wedding from my brother's selfish scheme to propose on my day, exposing deep family dysfunction and forcing me to draw lines I never thought I'd cross. This isn't just about a wedding. It's about loyalty, betrayal, and the courage to stand your ground when everyone else is against you. Buckle up, this gets messy. The setup, a dream wedding and a family plot. My fiancée, Sarah, 25, has always envisioned a spring wedding, blossoming flowers, soft sunlight, the works. I was all in. We set the date for April, and every detail was falling into place. But last Saturday, my world tilted. My parents summoned me to their house, refusing to spill the beans until I arrived. When I walked in, there they were. My parents and my older brother, Mike, 30, sitting like a tribunal ready to deliver a verdict. They dropped the bombshell. Mike wanted to propose to his girlfriend at my wedding, not before, not after, during. They pitched it like it was the most romantic idea ever, as if my wedding was just a backdrop for his big moment. I was floored. My blood boiled. Absolutely not, I snapped, my voice shaking with rage. But they didn't back down. They ganged up on me, my parents, who I've supported financially for years, and Mike, who's been coasting on their favoritism his whole life. It felt like a betrayal straight out of a Shakespearean drama. Here's where it gets raw. I've been sending my parents $500 a month to help with their mortgage ever since they took out a second one to fund Mike's college education, a degree he didn't even finish. I didn't ask for equity in their house. It was pure goodwill. Yet here they were, siding with Mike's entitled plan. I lost it. I told them if they pushed this, they'd all be uninvited from the wedding, and I'd cut off the financial aid. It was a gut punch moment, one that shifted the dynamic forever. The fallout, a brother's tantrum and a grandmother's lies. Mike didn't take my refusal lightly. The next day, he stormed to my house, screaming that I'd ruined his big chance because our parents, now fearing the loss of my support, had flipped to my side. They even threatened to evict him if he tried to propose at my wedding. Mike accused me of financially blackmailing our parents, claiming he just needed a perfect moment to propose because his girlfriend was on the verge of leaving him. I didn't mince words. That's your problem, not mine. Try it, and you'll be tossed out by a security bouncer and all. He cursed me out and left. But the drama was just beginning. Mike ran to our maternal grandmother, spinning a tale so embellished it could have been a soap opera script. Grandma called me, ready to lecture. But even after I set the record straight, she doubled down, siding with Mike. I unleashed years of pent-up frustration, her favoritism, her lies, her refusal to see Mike for who he is. She cried. But I didn't back down. My parents, now furious that I'd taken it too far, were caught in the crossfire. Mike showed up again, yelling that I was an idiot for denying him his opportunity. Sarah, my fiancée, was livid, ready to uninvite him herself. I started questioning if I'd gone overboard. But deep down, I knew I was protecting what mattered most. Let's pause here. Why does this story grip you? It's not just the family feud, it's the universal struggle of standing up to those who take you for granted. We've all faced moments where we've had to choose between keeping the peace and defending our boundaries. This is where cognitive biases kick in. Mike's entitlement screams self-serving bias, where he sees himself as the victim deserving of special treatment. My parents' initial support of him reflects status quo bias, clinging to the habit of favoring him. But I'm not here to play nice, I'm here to challenge the idea that family gets a free pass to disrespect you. Should you let loved ones hijack your milestones just because they're family? That's the hook that makes you lean in to deeper issues. Favoritism, finances, and a fractured family. This wasn't just about a wedding. It was about a family dynamic rotten at its core. Growing up, Mike was the golden child. Grandma always took his side, no matter how blatantly he lied. She'd convince my parents to do the same, creating a cycle of favoritism that left me in the shadows. For example, when I was 15, Mike borrowed $200 from me for a school project and never paid me back, even after landing a decent job. Grandma's response: "I don't understand why you're so upset." That phrase became her mantra, a gaslighting tactic to dismiss my valid grievances. Financially, my parents were in a hole because of Mike. 10 years ago, they took out a second mortgage to pay for his college. He dropped out, leaving them with debt and no refund. I stepped in last year when they were on the brink of losing their house, sending $500 monthly to ease their burden. Meanwhile, Mike, still living with them, paid a measly $300 in rent, contributed nothing to utilities, and acted like he was doing them a favor. His laziness and entitlement were a slap in the face. Yet my parents enabled him until I drew my line in the sand. Here's a vivid memory. 2 years ago, Mike got an online degree barely passing and expected endless praise. I have no issue with online education, but after my parents' sacrifice, his arrogance was infuriating. He'd strut around, demanding admiration, while I quietly worked my high-paying job and supported our parents. It's a classic case of projection bias. Mike assumed everyone owed him the same worship he gave himself, but the truth was undeniable. He was a leech, and I was done subsidizing his lifestyle. The turning point. Parents wake up. Brother moves out. After my threat to cut off financial support, my parents had a reckoning. My dad admitted he'd raised Mike wrong and vowed to stop enabling him. They drew up an official lease, demanding Mike pay proper rent and utilities $800 a month. A fair rate. Mike threw a fit, expecting Mom to bail him out, but she stood firm. When he realized they meant business, he announced he was moving in with Grandma, who'd invited him to her house. My parents didn't blink. Go ahead, Mike's victim act continued. He claimed we hated him for wanting to propose, but my parents shut him down. It's not about proposing, it's about where you wanted to do it. Grandma tried calling me again, but I laid it out. Mike wasn't proposing at my wedding, and neither she nor he was welcome if they kept pushing. I called out her lifelong favoritism and she crumbled, crying but still denying it. Sarah and I hired top-notch security for the wedding, ready to eject anyone who tried to ruin our day. Then, a twist. Mike's girlfriend found out about his plan. She saw my story online, pieced it together and tore into him. She'd been ready to leave him for months and said she'd have rejected his proposal no matter where it happened. She dumped him, cutting all contact. Mike, predictably, blamed me, showing up at my house to scream that he was boycotting my wedding. I laughed. I won't miss you. Grow up. My parents, meanwhile, were done. They repainted Mike's room to rent it out, along with my old bedroom, to cover the financial hole he'd left them in. It was a cathartic moment of family finally breaking free from a toxic cycle. The grandmother's betrayal, lies, and a shocking confession. Grandma wasn't done stirring the pot. She called again, criticizing me for Mike's heartbreak. He was already on Tinder, mind you. I snapped, recounting every time she'd enabled him, like when I loaned him money for college. And he stiffed me. Her response: I don't understand why. I exploded. You do understand, you just choose to ignore it because Mike's your favorite. She sobbed, called me a bad grandson. But I didn't hold back. I invited her from the wedding and told her not to contact me unless she could apologize sincerely. Sarah dropped a bombshell. Grandma had been bad-mouthing me to her, spinning lies about my childhood to paint me as a bad egg. She'd blamed me for things Mike did, trying to sabotage our relationship. It was a gut-wrenching betrayal, revealing Grandma's narcissism. She wasn't just favoring Mike, she was actively trying to ruin my happiness to prop him up. This is where confirmation bias comes in. Grandma clung to her belief that Mike was perfect, twisting reality to fit her narrative. It's a chilling reminder that sometimes those closest to you can be your worst enemies. The final showdown. A wedding saved, a family redefined. As the wedding approached, Grandma escalated. She showed up at my parents' house with Mike, whining about being humiliated. My mum, once a doormat to her mother, unleashed years of resentment, calling Grandma a narcissist who poisoned their family. She and Dad kicked them out, telling Mike he'd used them as an ATM for too long. Grandma called me again, ranting, but I let her scream into the void. Sarah spoke up, confronting her about the lies, and Grandma cracked. She admitted she was furious I was getting married before Mike, her favorite grandson. She'd wanted him to propose at my wedding to save his relationship, believing it was my duty to let him shine first. It was a jaw-dropping confession, laying bare her selfishness. The wedding was magical, an outdoor venue with a pond, paddle boats, and kids hunting golf balls like Easter eggs. Security was tight, and sure enough, Grandma showed up, waving her rescinded invitation. When denied entry, she turned feral, screaming my name until security threatened to call the police. She shuffled back to her car, defeated. Mike didn't show, probably sulking at Grandma's house. Post-honeymoon, I got a letter from Mike, a mix of half-hearted apologies and blame. He admitted proposing at my wedding was wrong but claimed I should have overlooked his traumas. He whined about Grandma's abuse, now directed at him, and blamed me for her meltdown. I didn't respond. My parents, meanwhile, rented out their spare rooms to 2 young women, easing their financial strain. They apologized for their past favoritism, admitting they'd failed me. It was a bittersweet closure, the aftermath, a tax scare and a new beginning. One curveball, a commenter flagged that my $500 monthly payments to my parents might have tax issues. I investigated and discovered my previous accountant had been fudging my returns, claiming a partial write-off on the payments. The tax firm's owner fired him, apologized, and promised to fix my records. It was a wake-up call to double-check the experts in your life. My honeymoon was a dream: coastal drives, cycling, I know pro, but Sarah loved it, and pure bliss. My parents are thriving, their house now revenue stream. Mike's ex is living her best life, free of his drama. Grandma's alone with Mike, likely regretting her choices as he mooches off her. As for me, I've cut the toxic ties and built a future with Sarah, who stood by me through it all. The deeper truth, why this matters. This story isn't just about a wedding, it's about breaking free from a family that demands your sacrifice to prop up their dysfunction. It challenges the sacred cow of family loyalty, daring you to ask, why should you dim your light for those who don't value you? My brother's entitlement, my grandmother's narcissism, and my parents' initial complicity reflect a universal truth. Some people will exploit your goodness until you say enough. By standing firm, I didn't just save my wedding, I reclaimed my self-respect. Psychologically, this saga taps into loss aversion. Mike and Grandma clung to their status, fearing the loss of control. My parents' turnaround shows the power of social proof. Once I set boundaries, they followed suit. The controversial hook, family isn't always worth saving. That's the idea that shakes you, makes you question the blood is thicker than water mantra, and pulls you into the story. Call to action: protect your boundaries, live your truth. Don't let anyone, family or not, hijack your moments. Take a page from my book. Set boundaries, enforce consequences, and don't apologize for prioritizing your happiness. Here's how. Identify your non-negotiables. What's sacred to you? A wedding, a career goal, your peace. Write it down and commit to defending it. Communicate clearly. Tell people what's off limits. I told my family Mike's proposal was a no-go. Be direct. Enforce boundaries with action. Threats mean nothing without follow-through. I was ready to cut off financial aid and uninvite my family. Be prepared to act. Seek support. Sarah was my rock. Find allies who validate your stance. Cut toxic ties. If someone consistently disrespects you, like my grandmother did, let them go. You don't owe them your pain.